This is an Ellis Mowers and More small engine repair. Stay connected on Instagram and Facebook at Ellis Mowers and More. Comments or questions? Leave them below or email me, ellis@ellismowers.com. Parts used in today's repair are found using the links in the description below. And as always, like and subscribe for more small engine content. On today's small engine repair video, it's a continuation of a Huskee Supreme riding lawnmower, 50-inch, 25 horsepower Briggs & Stratton, that we did in part 1, the video published a couple of days ago. Now, in part 2, what we're going to do is get it running, or we've already got it running, we're going to get it driving and cutting and finish everything up. A little bit of a lengthier process than I thought it was going to be with this machine, but in the end it turns out pretty good overall considering the age and condition of the mower. So we're going to continue the continuation of part 1 and part 2 here. We're going to start by hopefully getting the drive belt situation sorted and get this thing driving good again, which is going to take a little bit more than I originally thought, but either way it gets done nonetheless. I'll show you the process in this video of getting it driving correctly and getting it cutting well again. So let's go ahead and get started. Well, I have good news about the drive belt. I actually have one here. The one that I need to replace is here, and the one that I am going to also replace is not, but it's the easy one to do in the back here on the transmission. So here it is. I actually got it at Tractor Supply for like $5 a while back, year-end clearance. It's a 954 or 754-0467A. That's the primary Drive belt that's going to run from your main drive pulley right here for your crankshaft to this pulley back here. And it looks like somebody put a spring back here for this as well. I need to check that to make sure it's good. This belt has been completely shredded for some reason, so I got to figure out why that happened. It kind of looks like it was getting old anyways, or was the incorrect belt, one of the two. I haven't checked the pulleys, but we'll see how they are real quick. So they're moving freely, and I guess it goes like that. So I don't know if there's a plate missing right here on this or not. We may have to I'll have to look at the manual. Hopefully we don't have to get creative with it. I kind of feel like there's something missing. I know I don't know, we'll see. And then it goes to the back there. So it goes around to the left side of the steering shaft up here and then over to the front pulley. And you got to drop your PTO clutch and all of that stuff. And your main drive pulley. So that's a little bit of a chore to get the PTO back on, but it's not too bad. Then we get back here. We got to release the tension on the belt up here. But this is 04, I believe it's whatever the last one is, it's a 0468 is the belt back here, and it just goes around these 3 pulleys. You have to take this pulley loose with a 15/16 in order for you to be able to get the belt off. So I'm going to take that belt off. All I have to do here is go underneath, and this tension spring here on what is below us here is the only thing I need to take off. So I'm going to take that off, and do I need to take that one off as well? Whoops. I think I gotta take this one off also. So I'm gonna grab a little bit of a pull rope, and just pull this pulley out, or this spring off right here. That will loosen our tensioner on the belt here. And then on the back side, I'm gonna take a 15/16 and take the transmission drive pulley off so that I can get that top belt off of the Drive pulley, and then I can get the Drive pulley belt, the lower primary belt off, and I'll get the PTO clutch off, which in theory, as long as it's not rusted on there, will lower the belt, or will lower the drive pulley which in turn will lower the belt so I can get it off of the keepers. So I'm going to take care of all of that, and we'll see what happens. All right, we'll go under here real quick. Unfortunately, what somebody has done is very common that I find on these MTDs of this era, especially like Cub Cadets and stuff, with these electric PTOs, is that this pulley right here actually gets frozen to the shaft, and you can't really get it off very easily. And whoever tried to put a belt on here bent this thing all up. So I'm trying my best to bend everything back into place. What I'm doing is just taking my finger and just kind of feeling around for like high spots and low spots. Do my best to get this as even as possible. I got a low spot right here on the top part of this pulley, so I've got to take that out. I've got the new belt on. Again, you just have to slide it to the left of the steering shaft and put it on. These guides have been hammered out as well, so it's like, ugh. But usually what I do in this situation, if it's frozen on and can't get it off, is I'll actually take the engine mounting bolts off and slide the engine backwards so that I can and potentially pick it up. Usually when you slide the engine backwards, you can get enough leverage to get around these guides without having to bend them and stuff. And then you come back here and put the belt on wherever you need to after that. So the Drive pulley is a little tricky because you got to get it around guides as well. You may have to loosen that up some to get it there. But I wanted to show you the other belt because I don't think the correct belt was put on it actually. So this is the belt that was on it. As you can see, it's pretty shredded on the inside as well as the outside. But if you look closely, it looks like it's just one of them blue belts, because if you look closely, you can see that it's not really eaten out anywhere on either side. It's just it kind of got stuck. It actually got stuck in the Drive pulley, and just kind of rounded it or messed itself up. So this belt's good as done, but I'm pretty sure somebody put the incorrect belt on. So what I'm doing is just feeling my way around that front pulley, tapping up on the top if I need to, and pulling the top of that pulley down. I'm trying to get it as even as possible all the way around, because what that'll do is it will greatly help and minimize the amount of wear that's going to be on that main drive belt right there going to the back. What I am going to do for the time being, because I can get this thing running, driving, and cutting hopefully today, I'll put this belt back on it for now, and it very likely could be that it's got a little cut right there, that this was an original MTD belt that was put on this thing in 2005 or 2006. So the mower does have about just under 500 hours on it, so it's either the original belt or the second belt that was put on this thing, one of the two. But yeah, so yeah, it was caught around, that lower belt was caught around the Drive pulley because it was too small, and so it got caught in there. So I'm going to keep tapping away at this front pulley here, get it as even as I possibly can, and then I wish I had somebody here that could spin the engine just a little bit for me by hand, so I don't have to keep getting up and getting down, getting up and getting down. But here's kind of the belt kind of was starting to shred right there at the front, mostly probably because of that. So we had that going on. This goes on top of there whenever we put it back on. So, and then we've got to get it into the pin here on the frame. So we're going to take care of all that here. I'm going to take care of all that and get the belt on. I'll explain how to put it on, and then we'll see if it drives. If it drives, great. We'll go on to putting the deck on, and I think the deck will work. I don't really see any issues with the deck. Everything was spinning freely from what I recall, and we'll see if that works as well. All right, got everything back together. I want to just show y'all. It's just hard to show and do at the same time because of where all these belts are. But I did my best to get this back as even as I possibly could, all things considered. I think it's alright. I kind of felt around and made sure. But your belts go like so right there. And again, this is a pedal drive, so it's going to be very slack and loose until you push down on the pedal. It gets tighter. And we go back to the back here. Grab another light so that y'all can see. So if we go back to the back down here, the Varadrive pulley, if you get the Varadrive portion of it, the center section as far up as possible, you can get that belt on and around. You have to muscle it, but you can do it. And then the top belt, that tension spring I showed you earlier, that's underneath there that I took off, strap that back on. That's the last thing you do. You put it around the Varadrive pulley first, and then you put it around the small pulley before you put the spring on, and then you get it around the big transmission pulley. Put it back into the star keyway that's on it, and then you put that 15/16 inch nut back on, and everything's back on. I do need to order a upper belt, but for the intents and purposes of getting this thing running, driving, and cutting, hopefully cutting today, I didn't do that. Or I just put the old belt back on for the time being, and we'll slide that back in. I'll put the battery back in, lower it, and we'll see if this thing will drive back and forth here next. Also, one other note, I had another charging, a voltage regulator here, and that voltage regulator works. It's pulling 13 volts whenever I turn the blades on, and it is charging the battery, so that's good. Wish it was a little bit more because I do have the electric PTO, but that's enough to do what it needs to do. I'm going to get this mower down, get all this stuff out of the way, put the battery back in it, and we'll see if this thing will drive here next, and hopefully not wear out that new belt. Okay, it's time to see if this thing will drive. It should, unless the transmission itself is bad. The issue was the guy put a 1/2 inch belt on it, which got caught up. So it may have worked. It probably drove terribly, but that 1/2 inch belt got caught in that pulley, and it was done. So we're gonna get on it here. Let's see if it'll crank up for us. I may want to drive it. I think I'm going to drive it around a little bit to see if them belts wear in a little bit. Double check, make sure I'm not wearing out that belt already. No. So I think we're okay. I think what the issue is that the pedal return isn't strong enough for the belt. And I also think that this spring is supposed to go down here, not that other one, so that may have something to do with it also. So I'm going to change that out really quick. Well, I think it goes somewhere else actually than where it is. I'm going to look up let's see. Because I feel like it's not returning like it's supposed to. Maybe it is. I think we gotta wear this thing in a little bit. Let's see. I feel like it goes somewhere else, and I don't. Man, I'll just throw this in here for now. Or keep this in here for now. I'll let y'all know what I find out on this. It looks like it's doing the things that it needs to, which is good. But I'm going to get, so it does drive not the best yet, but I don't really have room in here to drive it around, so I'm going to open the garage up. It's getting cold and it's about to snow outside, so see if we can beat the snow, get this thing cutting grass. Well, the deck at least working. It's not going to cut any grass here at the beginning of January. But I want to show you the mower deck because I haven't shown that to y'all yet, and we'll probably get it on here in a few minutes. So the deck belt routing looks like that. I'm going to take the side covers off so that I don't screw the deck up. Make sure everything's spinning properly on it. 50 inch, so 25 horsepower rigs. We'll get it out here in the driveway so that we can pull this thing out and hopefully we'll be okay with it. I think, like I said, I think the Veradrive pulley and stuff just got to wear itself in with the new belts, and hopefully it'll stop and do what it needs to. So let me drive it forward some and see what happens. Let me see here. Well, if it's any good news, it's not shredding the belt. I would love to see it have a little bit more slack. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm wondering if whenever I replace that top belt, because it's in such bad shape, that it'll fix that. So that's what I'm going to hope for. If not, we'll revisit it. But I do know that I put the correct belt on it. So I do know that there's not an issue with that for the front belt. The rear belt, since it is probably stretched, probably has a little bit of an issue. I'm going to double check the spring setup on this as well, just to see if there's anything that we can do for that. But I'll go ahead and throw the deck on after checking the spring setup, which may help us a little bit, because it may be something with one of the pulleys in the back there that's causing issues. Also, I think the belt's so loose that the drive system for the main drive pulley or drive belt is not working correctly, especially if, like, I think this one's stretched out to the point, because usually when you push the pedal down, this will come back to the point where it'll actually ride on this arm. And I think because this belt is so old and stretched that it's not doing that, and causing some issues. So I just need to make sure that this isn't going to slide off. It doesn't look like it's going to. So, but everything looks good there. I don't know, like I said, I don't know why it's still trying to drive, because there's zero slack on this thing. But like I said, it could be because of this belt up here being worn out. So hopefully that's the case. I'm going to check the springs. I don't think this is where this is supposed to go. I'll update y'all on where I believe that spring is supposed to go, and I'll get right back with y'all and see if we can get this deck mounted and working. Well, I think we're going to beat the snowstorm coming, which is good. I got the mower deck on here. It's the first time we've had snow here in like 4 years, which is great. And I get to enjoy it because I don't have to work for TV News anymore. But the mower deck is on again. It's just 3 mounting points. I found a tension spring because it was missing one. I think I either misplaced it or put it up somewhere. The deck does have a couple of pinholes right there in a very typical spot for these decks. Because this is basically a Cub Cadet just with red and white paint on it pretty much. So what I'm going to do, I'll get y'all up here a little bit. I want to wait for the other belt to come in and really drive it around a whole lot, because I don't want to mess up that new primary belt. As for those springs, I looked at the diagram and I could not see anywhere where that rogue spring that was just chilling down there went. So I just left it as is, as y'all saw in the previous clip as well. So let's see what this thing will do. See if it's this belt or the other belt. Let's see what we got here. That belt looks okay. This deck belt I'm pretty sure needs replaced though. But hey, that is a very, very good result here, guys. Super good result for a day. We got it running, driving, and cutting. Basically all I need to do is put a couple belts on this thing and we should be good, which is great. So I'm going to order those belts that are needed. I'm going to check to make sure I don't have one of those here. I doubt it. 5/8 inch MTD deck belt. But if all we really got in this thing is a couple of belts, maybe like 50-60 bucks, because I did do a trade deal on this. I don't remember how much money he gave me in addition to selling the Southern States rider, but I will make a decent return on it. I'm thinking that because of the 50-inch deck and the big V-twin 25 horse, this may yield about $750 is probably what I'm gonna list it for. Probably take $7 for it. I would probably take $650 for it, honestly, because it's an old MTD product. But man, everything's great. This is a great place to end. It's about the week. I just gotta get some belts ordered, and when it gets warm, we'll get the pressure washer out and clean it up. So I'm gonna get the belts taken care of, and get this thing cleaned up. I'm going to level the deck, make sure that this left rear tire continues to hold air, and we will be in really good shape, or this right rear, excuse me, and we'll be in really good shape here for this machine and have yet another one ready to go for the spring. So I finally got a warm enough day to get this, even though there's snow on the ground, it was at least 46, 48 degrees today, to get this thing relatively cleaned up. As you can see, somebody flipped this at some point, because the hood was supposed to be red, it got painted white. The deck is red, but it got painted black, so it's kind of like, you know, cosmetically this is not by any means the best looking machine in the world. However, I believe once I get the rear drive belt on and get the deck belt on, we should be in really good shape. This thing starts and runs great now. I just cranked it up. It was 34, 35 degrees this morning when I cranked it, and it did really, really well. So I'm gonna obviously wait until the belts come in. I'll get them things ordered, and after that we will put those belts on. I've already kind of shown y'all how to do that. The bottom belt is very easy to do. You just have to take note of the alignment and lift the use like a ratchet on this side over here to loosen the belt off the PTO clutch, and you should be good. I know the deck looks a little bit rough. I'll put the side covers back on it too, which will make it look a little bit better. But I mean, this will be a, you know, fairly decent mower for somebody. It's going to be like a $600 to $700 mower, mostly because of the 50-inch deck, which gives it a little bit more value. Somebody can mow large swaths of grass with this thing and work really well. Give y'all a perspective of the time frame. I just finished washing the Saber mower, and that one had been done for a few days, and it had been so cold that I had not been able to get the Saber out and washed, and I fixed this one basically in that time frame, as well as a push mower. So just to give you an idea of where we're at in the time and space of making these videos. Again, we'll get these belts on. I'll do a final test. I may have to adjust the clutch pedal a little bit. I do need to sharpen the blades also. The blades are in decent shape, but they just need sharpening, and leveling the deck, which on this, how do we level the deck on this? If there's even a way, I'll show y'all how to do that. It looks like it's going to be on this side. Yeah, so we'll level it, so to speak, because for some reason, even though it's the same tire, this tire doesn't have as much of a ridge, and so the mower sits a little bit to the right. So I gotta fix that in terms of the mower deck, so that it sits level and cuts grass level, because those 50-inch decks, you know, you got a lot of side-to-side motion, and so it's a lot easier for the deck to be off and to scalp things. So I'm going to take care of all of that, give y'all a final run of this thing before we finish this video up. Well, time to do some belts on this thing. The last two remaining belts, we've already done the lower belt. The upper belt, I think I showed y'all. Got to take that nut off right there. There is your main tension pulley, and is right there. And there's a spring underneath that you may have to take off depending on how much strength you have. The spring goes underneath. You can lower the deck all the way and find it under there. I don't know if I can show y'all where it goes underneath here, but let's see. It goes somewhere in this general vicinity. You'll see it attached to the spring there, or attached to the pulley. I think it's over there on the other side. So also, let's see, you have to take this pulley off to get it around. It goes around the Veridrive pulley pretty easily, so you don't have to worry about that. And the part numbers, so you can see this one is pretty bad off, and I'm hoping it fixes our drive issues. But this is an Oregon 75-993. Again, you can use Sten's Oregon rotary belts or MTD belts, 754-0468. The front belt is an 0467, so just remember that. And then the deck belt I'll take care of is 754-04045. And the orientation of that before I send it down. So it goes from the crank pulley to the far left idler pulley to the middle spindle to the right side idler pulley to the left spindle to the right spindle to the left spindle and back to the main idler pulley here. I'm going to pull this mower deck off so that I'm going to make sure that all of the pulleys don't have a bunch of rust in them and stuff. And so hopefully they'll be good. I'm going to sharpen the blades. I'm going to change the rear belt back here as well. And after all of that, we should actually be very close to being done with this. Very close, actually, because the oil's in good shape. Looked like it had recently been serviced, so I think I put an air filter. I think I put a different air filter on it. That's a little bit better too. So again, this thing is not going to be a looker, but it will run decent. It cranked right up in 20 degrees this morning. Cranked it over for about 10-12 seconds and it fired up. So that's good. So it's ready to go there. We just need to get these belts and stuff sorted out. And hopefully it drives better. We may have to adjust the drive a little bit in order to get it to work properly. But if we have to do that, I'll let y'all know. Otherwise, I'm going to get these belts on, and hopefully we'll be finished with this very, very shortly. All right, so I still can't get this thing to drive right. And so what I'm going to do, because that front pulley is so jacked, I'm thinking that I'm having problems with that, trying to spin around and just trying to catch the belt and all of that stuff. So what I'm going to do is see if I can get that pulley replaced. It's not what I wanted to do because it is frozen on there, which means that my best option probably, I might let this just sit overnight and see if I can get enough WD-40 and stuff up in there to slide it off. But I'm not sure. That thing's stuck on there pretty good, and I can't really get good access to it the way that it currently is. So it's like, do I pull the motor or pull the engine? It's not too bad to pull it, just a, starter wire there, and there's usually a 6-pin harness over here to take off too, right here. So it's a matter of just taking this off, taking the 6-pin harness off right here, and this starter bolt. I've already taken the fuel line off right here. I've have to remove V-twins like candy here lately. And while I got this off, I'm going to do the valve cover, adjust the valves too to make it start a little better, take the throttle or choke cable off here, take the throttle cable off, and we should be able to lift it up and pull that plug wire right there too. Should be able to lift this thing up out of here, hopefully. Not, like I said, not the most ideal, but we'll make it work here. And hopefully that's all we've got to do in order to keep everything right here. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of all of that. I got to remove the shroud here so that I can get the exhaust pipes out of the muffler. So I've got a little bit of work here. I'm trying to make this a 1-part video instead of a 2-part. So I'm going to pull all that, since I've already shown you how to do all that here past couple videos. See if we can get this pulley replaced, which means I got to order one. but and see what we got to do after that. Well, this is the fun part here. As you can see, I have mangled this pulley to no recognition, essentially, but this really needed to be replaced. This was the source of a lot of our issues, our drive issues. The belt was wearing abnormally, and all the other pulleys look good. This one right here, like I said, looked really, really bad. Was rusted on here. So what I did is angle grinder. It seemed like my best approach was to cut right in where the keyway groove is on the crankshaft. Now I have been kind of tapping the crankshaft a little bit, so I am going to take like a little angle grinder and just kind of ground the shoulder back off of the crankshaft here. And I didn't want to use a lot of heat because I didn't want to mess the oil seal up, and then the sparks I was trying to get to go this way. So what I've been doing, and I know there's probably better ways to do this, I've used a lot of lubricant, PV blaster and stuff, is now I'm just taking a pry bar here and just tapping the shaft. As you can see, it's finally coming off. But the issue is this right here butts right up with the actual crankshaft right there, and I could not even see where they joined because it was so rusted. So thankfully, let's see. And I may have to, let's see, I may have to grind the shoulder of it down before I even get this off. We're going to try here. Alright, so let me see if I can now just pull it off. I'm sure I can't. But, no, so. But this thing should just come right on off now. I don't know why it just. Here's what I'm going to do. I didn't want to tap on this bolt because I didn't want to mess any threads up or mess the bolt up itself whenever I was doing this. So, but now, since we're this far along, it's a lot easier. I could just tap the bolt a little bit. Hopefully get it off. I mean, of course we're stuck at a crossroads on camera here. But yeah, so I have gotten this thing. Like I said, I don't really want to mess the threads up on this any more than I already have. So one other thing I did was I just took a flathead screwdriver on this side and just kept hitting it until I got a split after I grinded it out right here at the shaft groove, and just kept hitting it until I got it as far up as I possibly could. As you can see, we're pulling it back up now, but what I'm going to do, I know this is a cutoff wheel, but I'm going to kind of grind the shoulder of this off a little bit. That should help a little bit. And hopefully it'll just kind of slide off now. Well, not quite. It gets to that point right there and it doesn't want to go no more. But at least we've got it freely moving again, which is nice. So like I said, I've badly mangled this thing. Where are we hitting? Probably right there. So that's kind of because it's inevitable that you're going to have a little bit of a lip after you tap on it like this. So I'm hoping that we can just get it off. But either way, I just got to manage getting this thing off here. The hard part is definitely done at this point. So I just got to work on getting this remainder off. I'll get it off. And then I'm going to go ahead and mount everything back up. Putting the new pulley on is very easy because all you have to do is, we're going to clean all this off, wire brush it, and then you just have to slide the new one on. It's not no grinding or anything like that. I'm going to fix the pieces underneath the frame there so that they hold the belt in like they're supposed to, and then I'm going to see what else I need to do to this thing. Alright y'all, so I got everything put back on here now. Just going to wait for the new pulley to come in. After I do that, I'm going to have a lot better peace of mind sending this out. That other pulley was really, really bad, so we're going to put that new pulley on, and then we'll get the deck back on. Again, just 3 mounting points. Make sure all the pulleys on that are good and smooth so that it doesn't burn the new belt out that I put on that as well. I did end up taking the hood off just to have better access. One other thing I'm going to do is adjust the valves on each side as well when the time comes when everything gets when everything comes in and gets put back on. We're kind of approaching the end of the day now, so I'll take care of that whenever those pulleys come in and just kind of knock it out all in about an hour or so. Alright, so a couple weeks later now, I got the pulley in, got time to get it on, and there it is. So it's on, ready to go. Slid right up there, which is perfect. So I just got to get the PTO clutch back on it, button everything down, and actually robbed the rear drive belt while I had for another machine, one of the Troy belts that y'all saw earlier. So I need to put all that back on as well, tension pulley and all of that. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of all of that here, since I've already shown it to y'all in this video, and hopefully that solves our driving issues with that pulley being nice and smooth up front. Alright y'all, I got everything back on. I'm going to show you that it drives like it's supposed to now. So that's really good. We've got all that buttoned up now, which is good. I don't know why there's a little bit of residual smoke though, but it is an old mower. So, and of course, it's been like 3 weeks since I started it. It has cleared up. So, but let me put the deck on it. We'll drive it around, make sure everything's good with it. So I noticed it was still hard starting a little bit. I don't know why it's smoking though. Not quite sure in that aspect. But I adjusted the valves. That's a 13 millimeter wrench and then a I believe it's a T40 Torx to adjust them. You loosen the nut and then you twist the Torx in or out. In tightens them, out loosens them. So I did that to the left side already, right side done, and so I'm going to put it all back together, see if it starts easier. And the other thing that I did is I put you see the deck is still off, or I took it back off. I put the correct spring back on right here, and it is driving even better than it was just a couple minutes ago when I showed you in that other portion of the video. I am monitoring a very, very small oil leak from the shaft. I'm going to see how bad it is, and it's going to determine if I decide to fix it or not. If the mower was nicer, I would, but I mean, look at this. I mean, it's just the deck is kind of, you know, kind of there. Got a couple of small holes, a couple of soft spots. Deck's probably got another 2 to 3 years out of it, depending on how rough it's used. So it's like, you know, at what point do you stop? The mower itself, I'm probably gonna list it for $650, but because it is a 50-inch cut and it's got a 25 horsepower Briggs on it, which is pretty good. If it's anything like that Scott's mower, I'll get about $600 out of it, which is pretty good. I kind of had a Scott's that was basically an L120 John Deere that I sold for $600, but that was kind of in the fall. Had a couple people interested, but this one's the one that seemed like it came through. But either way, you know, big V-twin engine attracts people, 50-inch deck attracts people, and so that's why this mower does have a little bit of value to it. So I'm going to get this valve cover back on, get the deck back on it. It should start a lot easier. We'll give it one last test mow before we finish this video up. So there we are, guys. All back together, starting much easier. And luckily I actually had a deck belt here. It's a Gates belt, and from my stash that I bought a ton of belts from a guy a while back. They had the list price on that belt for like $100, $105 or something like that, which is crazy because I paid $50 for the whole lot of like 30 belts. But nonetheless, hood's back on it. Like I said, we'll do a walk around here. I'll show you that it runs and drives. This thing is not pretty at all. I'm just thankful that the fixing or putting that new pulley on it, which was $25, but well worth it in order to get this thing to where it's driving like it's supposed to. So again, not crazy. Like, this thing is not going to be the nicest mower in the world, but it does all the things. I leveled the deck and all that good stuff. So let me show you. This thing will crank it. It cranks so much easier now that the valves have been adjusted on it. And I'll let y'all hear it. Spindles, I will admit, are a little bit loud, but they don't have any grease fittings and stuff on them. And they stick out past the mower deck too. So before I put the guards on, they were pretty loud. It should be a little bit quieter now that those guards are on there. So we'll see. it is running. Doing what it needs to. Y'all might be able to hear those spindles are a little bit loud, so I may just pack them with grease or something along those lines. Trying to be careful because the deck's already got a couple of areas in it that are a little bit soft, so we might see what I end up doing there. But you can see it's still smoking just a little bit if you can see it coming out of there, but not terrible. I think I just need to give this thing a good run before I sell it, honestly. So I might pass it through the front yard. I might, like I said, last thing I might do on it is pull the deck, push the shafts down, and throw some grease inside it. Alright, so I took the deck back off. I just took the 15/16 off the top, knocked the shaft down through. We're going to grease the bearings right here. Kind of pack them in as much as we can. Help quiet this thing down a little bit. This is kind of like a quick and dirty when it comes to this with the sealed bearings. But we're going to pack it in there. And I just, like I said, I just took the little seal off the top of the spindle here. And so what we'll do is just pack it down like that, push this back in, and they'll have some grease, and hopefully over time what they'll do is they'll, that grease gets hot, it'll help quiet them bearings down a little bit. So if we come over here to the middle one, I'll show you how to do one real quick before I just finish them off. I mean, these pulleys are a little loud, but there's really no way to service them besides replace them, unfortunately. So let me see if I can get this middle one off here. And that pulley's a little bit different. And while I'm up here, I'm going to go ahead and knock the shaft through. Don't hit it too hard. You don't want to mushroom the end of it. So there we go. We can pull it out the bottom. There we go. I went ahead and did that because I'm going to turn the deck upside down and do the bottom ones like this as well. Like I said, this is kind of a quick and dirty, but you can kind of see that those are a little bit more rusted, so to speak. So if I can get some grease in here, pack it down a little bit. This is like the mower that never ends. It's like a one thing, fix one thing, and then another thing pops up. I guess that's what happens when it's got some age and some hours on it. But so there we go. There's the other one. It's already sounding better actually. So I'm going to finish packing it, all these bearings. We're going to see if it sounds any quieter compared to what it just sounded in the previous clip, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, we're going to end the day today, and we're going to finish this. I determined after I packed those bearings that the left spindle was actually the one that was making all the noise and all the ruckus and was bad. So if you see in there, it's a little dark, but I did put a new deck spindle on it. Again, it's just 4 bolts on, 4 bolts off. Had one here, figured I'd swap it out real quick, see if that helped matters any. And it seems to have. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we'll turn it on and I'll let you hear it again. Let's see. Doesn't seem like it's lifting like I want to, but Maybe it's just the slope that I have it on right now. Let's see. That's much more manageable. Just a little stumble and idle. I mean, all things considered, based on what this mower looks like and the wear and tear on the mower deck with a little bit of rust here and there, I think we're going to just call it good there. I think we're going to be good here. Got it starting easier. Got the deck quieter, which I don't know if it shows up on camera. But the other two spindles have a little bit of growling to them, but nowhere near the screaming that the left side spindle was doing. So that was a good call to replace. Or it was good that I was able to have a spindle here to replace the left side one and get this thing ready to go. I've already taken pictures of it. Considering how it runs good, and now that the deck is relatively quiet, I'll list it for $650, see what happens. Again, I'll take $550 for it just to get it out of here. It should be a pretty good mower for somebody once they get into it and start working on it or start using it. So should be good. And bearings in the front are a little bit wacko, but it's all good. I do appreciate y'all watching this repair video. Again, if I kept putting time and money into this to make it absolutely perfect, it's still going to fetch about the same money. So we got it running good, we got it driving good, which is one of the most important parts that I was having issues with. I'm glad I got the pulley for it, and we got it cutting good. And for somebody who wants a cheap, higher horsepower, decent sized deck lawnmower, this right here is going to be the ticket for them. So we'll see what it ends up fetching, and I appreciate y'all staying along on the journey as we fix this thing and getting it sent out to a new home, make a little bit of money on my end, and maybe even get a trade. We'll see. I do appreciate y'all watching, as always. Hopefully y'all like this content, and feel free to like and subscribe if it's your first time here, or you like this type of lawn equipment content. And I'll catch y'all on the next video.